Hey guys, it is 11:30 at night, but this lighting looks really good for recording videos. It's 11:30 at night and I've had the longest day. I've got my relaxing, nice little nature sounds in the background. And today I didn't see Ro a whole lot yesterday. And then I woke up and cuddled him real hard today and played with him this morning. And then he took a nap and I just really dug into work. I worked really hard. I had a team training tonight. What is a coaching 101 for our second week of our mentorship. It kind of just like condenses the whole week one and foundational things all together in an hour, kind of like a review and a jump off into week two. And I had that webinar training and I had to edit and switch the slides because I hadn't updated it in about a year. I took Ro to my grandma's house for a little bit. I'm in the middle of my coach mentorship, so I was connecting with all of them on inviting to the training because it was a team training, but we decided to open it up for other people to just get a view into what we do. But I had to update the webinar, and I was running Ro around town, and I was taking care of him, and wasn't taking care of my swallow flow enough in terms of food, and this crazy stuff. And a lot of shit went down. I was finishing the last slide as I was starting the webinar. As people were logging on, I was finishing and placing the last slide, but as I did the webinar, there were still some like mistakes and stuff and things needed to be edited. I was like in it and really in it and focusing. I was supposed to do it on YouTube Live and that platform wasn't working. So 4 minutes before I started the webinar, I texted my coach and she gave me her Zoom login, which meant that people needed to download an app to be able to use it, which meant people weren't going to show up because they didn't want to do the extra work. And then I'm having to send links everywhere and it's just this whole shit show. Then I get people in and we get going. I have to use a secondary system, the screenshot, record it. Rose squealing with Nick. I just want to be in laying down with them. I'm hungry. I haven't handled dinner yet. And I'm like in this webinar and I'm jamming through it. And I get to the second to the last slide and get a text message from one of my coaches, one of my best friends, that said, hey, it kicked us off. And it catches me out of the zone in the last two slides, which had I had my phone flipped over, I could have just finished it out. It would have recorded, and I would have had this video to upload and to share. And instead, what happened is I got distracted, and I realized I cut out, and our internet had shut down. And so it all would have worked out, but I cut out and then ended up canceling the recording, whole situation. So people got kicked out. There were like 12 people on the call. A bunch of my training coaches, a bunch of people who were interested in coaching. I then was pissed, like just this total shit show mess, right? And I was for a second, just so mad. So mad. There's so many times most of everything in life is just going to be a wreck and be a shit show, guys. I want to talk to you about the mindset on how I work through that stuff and how I stay in a really positive place and how I make my mess work for me. Mostly how I use my mess to my advantage. So all of this happens. It kicks me out. I immediately jump on and just do a quick live video where I'm like, okay, well, my shit's broken, so sorry. You can, real low vibe situation. Sorry, you can just send me a message or whatever, and I guess I'll figure it out or redo it, or I don't know. Just kind of this lullaby kind of pissy situation. And Nicole gets on there. Nicole Dick, she's on the team. She calls me on my shit all the time. Nicole gets on there and she's like, hey, well, will you share your coaching testimony? So I get off the video, come back and do that. And before I did that, because I was pissed. I was really pissed. And she asked me to share a coaching testimony because she had invited people too. My team had invited people. And before I pushed play or record on my live, I took a moment, took a deep breath, and I said, people heard exactly what they were supposed to hear. It cut out exactly when it was supposed to cut out. I'm given this opportunity to share a different version of my story than I was going to share tonight. I get a ability to connect in with different people. I get to do it differently. I get to do it without a plan. I could do it on trust. Because I could have not shown up. I could have been like, screw it, whatever, and gone to bed. And that's what I did. I went, okay, I trust this, like, whatever. Because my two options there. That's my option. I can either be pissed about this, like, fuck this, everything happens to me, oh, life's so hard, or I decided to trust and go with it. Two options. One is an enjoyable outcome, one is not. So I did that. And then I do something which I did not used to do before coaching at all. I didn't do it really regularly, honestly, until a couple weeks ago. And I'm not kidding you. I don't say the G word because for me, it used to be a trigger, but I have full 100% belief that if you're going to do this business, if you're going to be successful long-term in this business, you have to have some sort of relationship with a higher power. That comes from a 12-step program to work this closely with people, to work this closely with people's growth and this like intimately with people, and to work with this deeply within yourself. To stick it out long-term, you have to have some sort of higher power, whether that's God or the universe or source energy, or for a long time it was my best friend Cammie who died in a car wreck when I was 20, or maybe it's your grandfather, or maybe it's your dead dog, or maybe it's the moon. It doesn't matter. It's just got to be something bigger than you that you can hand your problems over to. That's me. And I'm not even 100% sure what it is yet. Like, I'm just really solid in this universe idea, this like buzz thing, that like this noise, that I trust in that. So I prayed and I just closed my eyes and I went, okay, like, I'm done. I've got nothing. And it's usually when I've got nothing that I've got the most to give. Like, I'm done. I've figured that out. And it's through this, and just close my eyes for a second. I say, I'm just here and I'm just showing up, and I'm going to trust myself to just share whatever it is that feels good to share. And whoever is supposed to hear it gets exactly what they need. And I'm showing up, and just use me. Just use me. Just let me help people in the way that I'm meant to be helped. And then I pushed live and I opened my mouth. And it becomes this really awesome meditative space where I just trust myself to just talk, and trust myself to just be, and trust myself that I'm good enough. And a lot of that is I'm just like, in that moment, I gave away permission that I said, I'm not in control here. And my higher self is another thing I connect in, and I let my higher self take over. I say, like, I'm just opening my mouth, and just let me use this thing why I'm here, because we're all here for some sort of reason. Right? There's no accident on that. Things just line up too majestically for it to, like, it's not an accident. So, it's even why right now I'm in a really great space. So that is one way that I have interjected spirituality into my business. And since I said earlier that I had only really started consistently doing this a couple weeks ago, what had happened, a similar situation to tonight. It was this celebration of ending my detox webinar, and it was the 3-year anniversary of the day I quit my job, and it was this how to make your happiness your job webinar. Webinar is a theme here that I'd been planning for about 4 weeks, and then Ro got sick, and then just everything was in the way. And that night I was so empty, but I decided to show up to this commitment I made for myself, and I prayed on it, and just like I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And my business, like, took off. And I've consistently used it since then. Since those couple weeks ago, I've signed 5 coaches. 4 of them are business building coaches. I will be, in 2 days, I'll be at Success Club 18, and it was easy. Like, it was really simple. It's kind of just happening. That video I did tonight, that was not at all planned for, and just like opened my mouth and told this story, and it went against all these ideas I had. I had 3 people that I have never, ever, ever, ever talked to about coaching or challenge group or any of that. People I haven't talked to just in general in years reach out to me and be like, I think this is exactly the thing I need, and I've been following you doing this for a real long time, and let's actually talk about it. Like these people that we weren't even within this like realm of like radar, and those were my people that needed to hear it. And that feels so good to know that that wasn't me. It was just this thing falling out. I kind of like, I don't get to take full accountability or full responsibility for all of this stuff, but it was me that trusted in me. It was me that trusted in this thing. And it feels so good, and it feels so fulfilling. So I had that real long, terrible, hard day and process and thing tonight. But I got off and I went like, hey, I'm done. Like, and I told myself that. I'm a workaholic. So I told myself, like, I'm done. And I hung out with Nick for like an hour, just laughed super hard. And then I just laid on my couch and just like checked in on a couple messages and things from my coaches who had been on. And then I came in here and I laid down and I did yoga. And while I was on the mat, I thought like, okay, do I want to just go in and chill out and watch The Magicians, which I'm going to do? Or do you have anything more to give? I'm listening to Diane Nyad's story. What's it called? Find a Way. Diane Nyad, she swam from Cuba to America. And one of the things she says, I saw her speak at my first summit, and she talks about, could you give just a fingernail more? And can you go to sleep at night every single day feeling fulfilled because you knew you gave everything and you couldn't give a fingernail more? And as I was laying over there on my mat, and I'm really conscious of myself that if something doesn't feel good, I don't do it. And I go where it feels good. And I'm laying over there on the mat and I'm going, is this going to feel better to go watch Netflix, or do I have a fingernail more to give? And that breath and that breathing and that meditation and that checking in with myself over there said, I've got more to give. And that's a really good feeling. And it's because of that spirituality that I've invested into my business. When I started coaching, I was I was on the line between agnostic and atheist. And I didn't pray. I didn't meditate. I was very uncomfortable with the idea of even thinking about meditating. I didn't have any connection into any sort of higher power. So this has been the most like grateful of a transformation I've had through this whole thing, is finding a sense of spirituality and a sense of grounding within myself and a sense of something greater. And so I wanted to share it with you guys tonight. I felt called to share it with you as I was laying over there on my yoga mat in my really beautiful little yoga place next to my Christmas tree that's up at the end of February. So I love you guys, and thanks for hanging out and watching my video. Your higher power gets to be whatever your higher power is, and whatever you can trust in to care for you, to hand things over to it. So like I said, if that's an idea of like God, or even like Ganesha is one for me. He's a Hindu god. He swoops on my shoulder. Like, you can be really creative with it. It doesn't have to be anybody's idea of what a higher power is supposed to be. It can be just you. And that's one of them too for me. Like my highest self, she's fully tatted up. Well, she's got 2 full sleeves and 2 full leg sleeves, and then she's got dreads. My highest self does. Yeah. So, get creative and have fun with it, but it will help. So if you have any questions on that, reach out and ask me. Also, I want to hear your stories on that. I want to hear your own personal experience with that. What we do is a very deeply spiritual connection thing. So that part's really cool. I love you. Have a magical day. I believe in you 150%. You can get your dynasty out, yo.